Hey everybody, it's Shane with Pulse, back again for some cryptocurrency discussion. And today we're going to talk about why I like the phrase, when in doubt, zoom out, and why I use Bollinger Bands on your charts to help me zoom out and feel more confident about my investments like that. So the other day I had submitted a completely amateur trend analysis to a group I'm in for a specific coin. But what you can do is anything I talk about today, don't necessarily think that the coin I'm talking about is the coin you have to do this with. Pull up your coin's chart. Go to the options and indicators. There's an indicator button. You'll turn on the Bollinger Bands. I also use Relative Strength Index, or RSI. So those are two things you're going to see. And there's going to be a chart that comes into existence right here. I will edit that chart in a moment. And then the chart's going to take over the whole screen. And I'm just going to talk in the background for a minute. What I'm going to put up is a one-day candle chart for the HOGE Finance coin. I submitted this TA into a Facebook group, and I want to explain why a Bollinger squeeze is a good thing to look for. So here comes a chart into existence. I'm editing that chart in now. So now you're looking at a chart. I have the same chart on my screen behind me, so we're looking at the same chart now. A one-day chart, when you're looking at every candle on the chart, basically means that every candle you see represents a 24-hour trading period. And I'm not going to teach you how to use a Japanese candle chart. There are videos that will do that for you, but you should look into that. It's a great trading tool. The Bollinger Bands, if you see the blue bands that run on either side of these candles, that blue area represents the area between the two Bollinger Bands, and that's a high and a low band, and they're used to measure volatility within a market. So you'll notice that at the very beginning with this HOGE chart, it's a very small, tight band. The coin has an initial explosion. It makes a very big jump out of the gate when the coin was initially dropped, and that's represented by the extraordinary point between the two high and low blue bands. That's a period of high volatility. It means that either there's a lot of selling or buying going on, and in this case with HOGE, that was all buying. So obviously that first time, most coins, if you look that initial pump, when a new coin comes out or big news happens or something like that, or a court case ends, as is in vogue in the news lately, you'll see these breakouts. Now, they can also go the other way. So you'll use these periods of volatility, these wide areas between blue bands that represent volatility, combined with other analysis tools to decide whether or not you should be buying in or selling, or if you've reached a high point or if you've reached a low point. So on this chart, it's not so much that there's the volatility at the beginning that I want you to focus on. What I want you to focus on is after that initial volatility, when everybody jumped in right out of the gate because they saw some profitability, and then inevitably sold out on the backside of that because they were not in for the project, but they were just in for the short term. You'll see that that band begins to narrow down. It begins to squeeze down or pinch down. And that narrowing of the band indicates that there's a tightening of the market. There's less trading going on in either direction. So the tighter the blue bands get, the tighter they get to that red line, which is the moving average price, it represents less volatility within the individual coin. So any coin you go look at, and I would say Bitcoin, if you go look back and really zoom out, you'll probably have to pull it out to a month chart or something like that. You can see in any of your coins these periods of volatility, and then these squeezes, and these periods of volatility and these squeezes. And the key to using your Bollinger Bands to predict these areas is to know that when the squeeze is happening, why is the squeeze happening? You know, is there bad news? Is there no news? Is there no news from the developers? Why is there very little trading frenzy? And then what would be best would be able to predict in any given coin environment when or why a coin is going to do better or worse, or if there was going to be a period of volatility. If I picked on Dogecoin, the hardest thing about tracking Dogecoin using these systems is the fact that a single Elon Musk tweet can completely screw up your trend analysis, because you might have been doing something that was fantastic, but all of a sudden Elon tweets about taking the coin to the moon, and then it screws up your charts and it screws up your averages going forward. So track all your coins using this Bollinger Band thing, and watch for those averages. At some point, I will assume I will have zoomed away from the HOGE coin chart, but you still see it back here. So look at your coin and look for these pinch periods. You can see I've got this little chart over here, and they're kind of indicating this squeeze point in a band. Knowing why you've entered a period that's squeezed and being able to track why it's going to come out the other end of it and why it's going to be volatile and which direction the volatility is going to drag the coin will determine your sell point or your buy point going forward like that. So I am pretty comfortable using Bollinger Bands for my own stuff, but I'm literally not a professional at this, and this is just me having watched enough information on my own to gather to decide that I can use these methods myself. I do have a playlist in the somewhere over on the side, wherever the side stuff is, that has some videos. It's called a cryptocurrency references playlist or something like that, where I've saved a few videos, and there's a video in there that I used to learn about these that I thought was very, very helpful. I suggest you look up multiple sources to study Bollinger Bands and then see if you can apply that to your coin. See if you can, and draw on some charts, like I've done. See if the only way you're going to get better is practicing, right? Use that strategy and see if the Bollinger Bands give you some confidence that when you zoom out, you can tell when these periods of volatility are going to break out. And if you're paying attention to a coin and you're reading the news, or you're on Reddit, or you're in a Facebook group, I suggest you join the Facebook groups for your coins and the Reddits for your coins. You should know why within a coin environment there's going to be a breakout. You should know the news is coming, or this case is being settled, or there's a new update coming for the coin, or there's a new exchange listing. One of the things with HOGE is this new exchange listing. It's my personal opinion that this squeeze that we're seeing with HOGE Finance right now is directly related to the fact that there's just been this lack of perceived action, because unless you're looking for information in a Telegram or in a deep area on Reddit or Facebook, it seems like the coin is dead. But that's, for those of us that are paying attention to things like that, that being listed on a new exchange, or that you had a marketing campaign or a Super Bowl ad, or if you knew, imagine if you knew when Elon Musk was going to tweet about Dogecoin, you'd be looking at that squeeze, you'd be buying in when it was low, and then you would know that it's going to blow up. So I think this particular squeeze for HOGE Finance is related to this anticipatory breath holding before this listing on Big One goes live. I think that people are just pucker factor 9. Because there's been a lot of people on the chart that I put up. You can see there was a 17-day trend where it was below average. And if you had bought in at any point above the all-time high, or during that 17-day low point, man, you're clenched up right now waiting for that Big One listing to go live and for it to drag you at least out of your minimum, and hopefully up to, I assume, the moon, or to some Lambo in the sky. I would assume what's going to be up there, right, is the goal for everyone. But apply this to all your coins. Apply it to SafeMoon. Apply it to Ethereum. Apply it to Litecoin. Go trend analysis. Trend analysis your favorite coin. One of the things about being a fitness professional, if I could drag my fitness back into my crypto, is everything I do is data-driven. Everything I do with diet journals and fitness and stuff like that is about knowing information so that you can make an educated decision to make changes. So trend analysis is something I'm geeky about, and you should be too. I'm Shane, and this is Pulse, and this was One Day Candles trend analysis. I think we're going to go with, from now on, keep the candles green, and I'll see you next time. Finger guns. Pew pew.